You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Ralph Sheheen alongside, actually nobody. Doug Herbert not able to be here with us today. He's off flying around doing what he does up in the air when he's flying his plane. So, unfortunately, Doug not here. We do have his diecast and the brakes hat, so he's well represented. But we do have some great guests for you here today as we get into some conversation about drag racing. Matt Smith is going to be joining us here real soon. Pro stock motorcycle racer who won just recently at their last round at Route 66 Nationals over in Joliet. And joining us as well for the first time this year will be Derrick Cramer. Derrick picked up his first pro stock victory of the year, also taking the win over there at Route 66. We're going to talk a little bit about movies. That's going to be something we're going to chat about. And we're going to talk about the swing that's coming up here. The NHRA competitors are running, 4 races in a row? So it's a busy time. We'll touch base on that a little bit, and a brand new guy getting a license to run funny car as the series moves on to its next stop in Topeka, Kansas this coming week. But I believe Matt Smith is ready to join us on the air. You there, Matt?
I am. I'm here.
Good, buddy. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Well, I'm off to a good start. I got the whole shot on Doug because he's not even here, so I'm doing pretty solid. I'm going to move right on to the second round.
Awesome. Yeah, the last time I was on here, Doug got his flight was his plane broke down, so he's almost 2 for 2 with me now.
Yeah, so maybe the story is that he's avoiding you. You think that's really what's going on here?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I was starting to think it was about me, but Matt Smith here joining us and ready to talk drag racing. Matt, tell me a little bit about winning at Joliet and what that was like for you and what made the difference this weekend.
You know, we come out pretty strong at Gainesville, and we had a fuel pump issue happen on Saturday and Sunday, so it really cost us how we were running, because we were number one qualifier on the first day there. And NHRA added this 15 pounds to us after the Gainesville race, and my team has struggled with 60 foot since then, and we're just now getting it back to where we're close to being back where we need to be, and that's the biggest thing. We've tested 4 times since Gainesville to try to get this right, and we're really close. So we're going in the right direction, and everything came together this weekend, and forced to win this race.
You know, Matt, you and Steve Johnson got into a bit of a war of words over all the weight and all that stuff, but it seems to have kind of settled down. Has everybody figured this out a little bit, gotten their arms around it a little bit more, or is it still an issue?
No, I mean, I'm sure this is guys thinking it's an issue still. The biggest thing is they're not doing their job as a brand to run as fast as they should be running right now. I know that they are having problems with their crankshafts. So, I mean, the V-twin guys shouldn't be penalized for a manufacturing problem right now of what they're going through. I mean, we had crank problems back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, and we didn't get weight taken off us or whatever back in the day. We just had to work through it, and we did. So, I mean, honestly, I think if their crank problem is fixed, I think they'll be just as fast, if not faster, than we are,
Now, you said you had to deal with the additional weight. Within the NHRA rulebook, are you allowed to maneuver that where you want it, or do they just tell you pretty much where you have to put it?
No, we can put it where we want to, but, people go, well, how much weight do they add? And we tell them it's 15 pounds, and they go, oh, well, that's not that bad. Well, 15 pounds is a lot when you only weigh 625 pounds with bike and rider. That would be like Pro Stock Car and NHRA saying, hey, y'all got to add 75 pounds. Because it's a penalty. It's the same weight ratio as, us adding 15 to them adding 75 pounds. So it's a pretty big deal to us. And I think the reason that the big black trailer, as I call them, is the Harley-Davidson trailer, why they've succeeded since that's been added is because 4 and 5 years ago when they had the 4-valve motor, they used to weigh 640 and 670 pounds. So they already knew what to do with their clutches. They knew what to do with the gear ratios and all that. So they had an advantage, with the weight being thrown on us. But I think we're narrowing it down to where we need to be, and I think we'll be pretty strong the rest of the year.
You mentioned that big black trailer here the last few weeks. Those guys were really on a roll. What's it going to take to slow them down, not just one weekend, but maybe over the course of the season, and then put yourself in a shot to hang on to this championship?
The biggest thing is, they've got all the money behind them. They've got all the technology. They've got 3 riders on their team. And the biggest thing is, nobody can buy that stuff. So, what we have and what we're doing, anybody can come out and race an EBR body and buy an S&S motor and go do what we're doing. So I think the biggest thing is that, I'm not really worried about them. They're probably worried about me a little bit maybe. But I think as long as I do my job, and we keep everything on the straight path like what we're going and keep our 60 foots getting them down and down a little bit, I think once we get our 60 foots down in the 105 and 106 range all the time like we used to be last year, I don't think anybody can touch us. And hopefully that'll parlay come this championship.
What is it that you need to do? Is it a performance thing with the motorcycle that you need to get to that 60-foot time you're looking for? Is it something the rider needs to do?
No, it's what's going on is, I've changed clutches since they've added the weight. I'm kind of running a clutch just like every other competitor out there. Basically, I was the only one running what they call a MTC Gen 1 clutch, and everybody else had gone to an MTC Gen 2 clutch. And it's basically, I'm just having to learn that clutch, and with the added weight, this clutch works better the heavier you are. So I'm figuring it out, and I think once we get that figured out, it's going to take a couple more races. It's just clutch and gear ratios. I'm just having to change all that stuff up, and once I get that where it needs to be, I think we'll be back to the championship caliber that we were last year.
So you've been dealing with this for the last couple of weeks, and are you 75% to where you need to be? Are you 80% there? Or are you still somewhere between 50 and 60%?
I'm in between the 60 and 75% range. We figured Angie's bike out. We're getting closer with it. Last week, I qualified second. She qualified sixth. We went to the semifinals. We had to run each other, and I beat her in the semis to go on and win the race and beat Karen in the finals. But all in all, we're getting it together, and I'd say by the time we get to Sonoma, I'm going to throw Denver race out because that's just a one-off deal. But I think by the time we get to Sonoma, which is 3 races from now, I think we should both have top 4 bikes, pretty easy.
Is that an advantage then, having these 4 races in a row? You're going to the track and you're getting to work on it 4 straight weeks?
Well, we don't run Topeka and we don't run
that's
Bristol.
True, yeah.
We're off until Norwalk. So right now we're freshening our motors up and getting everything ready. And, where we left off at Chicago, I'm pretty sure I know what the next step we've got to do, and we'll start that at Q1 at Norwalk. And Norwalk's always hot and humid, so it's going to be slower there. But hopefully that'll play into our hands with what we're dealing with.
Does that type of track condition give you an edge, do you think, when it comes to, as you say, battling the guys in the big black trailer?
Say that again?
Well, when you have conditions like you're talking about that you expect at a place like Norwalk, is that more of it evens out the playing field, if you will, and kind of helps close the gap to the guys that you're talking about in the big black trailer there, the Harley guys?
Yeah, I tend to run a lot better when we get 25 feet, 2,500 feet and up. So I tend to run a lot better. They tend to run good when it's 2,000 feet to 15 or 1,000 feet. So I think we'll be pretty good. It got pretty hot up there, at Chicago, and it's always hot at Norwalk, and I think we'll be good.
When you talked about these guys now maybe looking over their shoulder a little bit at you and knowing that maybe you're finding your groove again. How much of that becomes gamesmanship back in the paddock area in between to kind of let them know that you're finding your groove?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we get these sheets, after every qualifying pass, and it shows our 60 foot, our 330, our eighth mile, our speeds at eighth, and it shows incrementals from how fast your bike travels from 60 to 330 and 330 660, and so forth, all the way down from 1,000 foot to 1320. So, they know that I've been struggling with 60 foots because they get the sheet, and we've been the quickest and fastest thing basically from the eighth mile to the finish line this whole year. So they know once I get, the 60 foot back figured out, that we're going to be really, really fast. So, I mean, they stepped their game up this year from last year, but, we've found a little bit more, and I think we haven't showed what we have yet. And I think we're going to be fine once we get the 60 back down. We're the only bike so far this year since they've added the 15 pounds to run over 200, and we've done it twice now at two different places. So that says a lot about our program too.
Yeah, it sure does. In reading through your bio, I know that you've been actively involved in coaching your son in soccer. Are you a better coach or better racer?
I like to coach the riders that's on our teams that need help and trying to help, just like I've been trying to help Kelly Klontz this year a little bit. I mean, it's just that I enjoy trying to help people go faster and live their dreams, because this was a dream of mine back in the day when, before I even got started in this. I looked up to Angel and John Myers and Dave Schultz, and I was like, I just want to have an opportunity like them. And nobody ever gave me that opportunity. And, I had to go do all this stuff myself, and I just like to try to give people opportunity. That's kind of why we have a rental program for people to be able to come out and live their dreams and try this stuff. So, it's just fun, but I mean, I'm a racer too. I mean, I love to race. I think it shows that, I'm 150%, in this thing, and I'm here to win and, or help somebody on my team win.
You talk about that, and helping somebody along, and you have the rental program. If there's somebody listening or watching right now that maybe dreams of doing what you're doing right now, what would be the one thing you would tell them? How do they make it?
The one thing is just, be serious about what you do. And if you come and try this and it doesn't matter if you ride for me or any of the other teams out there, give it 150%, just don't come in and say, I just want to be where the TV's at, because you're going to look bad if you don't give it your all. And, that's the biggest thing. Pro Stock Motorcycle is the top of the line motorcycle out there because we get the TV time, we get the exposure with NHRA. We are one of the 4 pro classes. And everybody that's ever rode a motorcycle wants to go pro stock motorcycle racing at some point in their life to go to where we're at. And all I can say is when you get there, give it 110%. Don't worry about how many people's there or whatever's going on. Just focus and do the best you can, and more than likely you'll succeed if you do that.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Best of luck as you move on to the next round of competition. Congrats on that victory in Illinois, and we look forward to having you back on the show soon.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Matt Smith, the 2018 NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion, joining us. We got more coming your way right here on MRN's The Straight Line. Stay with us.
Need a specialized tool to finish your vehicle repair? There's no need to buy it if you're only going to use it once. Check out O'Reilly Auto Parts Loaner Tool Program, available at any O'Reilly store. Find tools like a ball joint press, disc brake caliper tool set, and more. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hi, folks. Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
On July 6th, gather your family and friends for summer's biggest celebration, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. Experience a weekend of excitement with racing under the lights and celebrate Independence Day with patriotic tributes and the region's largest fireworks display over the infield at Daytona. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 will be a celebration to remember. Adult tickets start at $49, kids $20. Lock in your seats at 1-800-PIT-SHOP or DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Well, it's always fun here on MRN's The Straight Line to get new winners on the show. And a new winner in Pro Stock is their next guest, and that's Derrick Cramer, who took the victory at Route 66. Hey, Derrick, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well after that weekend.
I bet you are. You know, it's starting to look like Bo Butner was going to be a freight train nobody was going to be able to derail.
Yeah, in fact, I was the only one who beat him all season.
Yeah. So what did you do? How did you get it done?
Equal power. We kind of all know what we're running as far as car setups are concerned, as far as the KB team goes. And I was able to just cut good lights against Bo and then cut good enough lights against all weekend with the power that I was supplied with KB. We just were able to put good runs down. It's not too often that on Sunday you start making your best runs of the weekend. Normally there's a cool session and you make the best run that night, but finals, fastest run of the weekend. Can't say much bad about that.
No, when you're going to uncork one, that's the time to do it, right?
Absolutely.
What have you done lately to get your reaction times to a point where you were able to not only be quick but consistent with them?
Well, I think, truth be told, I think I've been beating myself more than my opponents have been beating me this season, and probably a little bit of last season. So I try and work on being, like you said, consistent, right? Like I just have to. I know that I'm fast. I fence. If anyone hasn't listened to the show or listened to Nhra before, they know that I'm an avid sword fighter, and I like to do that. So my reflexes are pretty quick. So for me, it was just concentrate and focus on what I'm doing and allow my reactions to be just that and just react to what's going on around me, focus, and do my one job.
I wanted to ask you about the sword fighting. I'm sure I'm not the first one to talk to you about it, but for those that maybe don't know, tell them a little bit about what you do with your hobby there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I participate in a historical reenactment group, recreation group, I guess. It's called the Society for Creative Anachronism, SCA for short, SCA.org if anyone's interested. And what it is it's a classical fencing style of martial arts. They have a heavier weapon combat as well, where you wear full suits of armor and stuff like that. But what I particularly partake in is, like I said, Three Musketeers style sword fighting. So big, heavy rapier sword with sword and dagger, swashbuckling, the whole 9 yards.
So you got the hat with the big feather thing coming off?
Yeah, I do actually have one somewhere around here. Yeah, absolutely.
And you wear the boots and the big white puffy shirts that the Three Musketeers wore?
The whole concept is it's the modern Middle Ages. So it's the Middle Ages the way we would have made them now. So the whole group and organization is devoted to learning what the Middle Ages were, what they did, how they did it, stuff like that. And so what we try and do is we try and create those types of environments, but with modern plumbing, I guess is the best way to say
Okay.
it.
Now, this is with swords, and I assume
Absolutely.
they're sharp. That can get a little tricky, right?
Yeah. So the one thing I like to equate it to is I kind of consider this one of the last true full speed martial arts, because our swords are about a half inch to an inch are cut off of the end of them, and they're flattened, and then we have like a bird blunt on the end of them, and between that and the fencing mask, there's pretty much the only things that are keeping us from actually stabbing each other, right? They're not sharpened on the edge. There's just a dull edge. But as far as if the tip was to come off, I've done experiments where we put our armor on like a piece of fruit or a rack of ribs, and that sword goes right through, even with the armor. So yeah, without that mask and the bird punch, it could get a little dicey, that's for sure.
So 200 and something miles an hour in a pro stock car is awful safe compared to wheeling around one of these swords.
Absolutely, yeah. No, there's no place I feel more comfortable than just sitting in that car. It's absolutely the safest place I have ever been.
Is there anybody else in pro stock drag racing that you think would be a good combatant in fencing for you? Is there somebody you think could pick it up and be pretty good?
So typically, tall, lanky type of individuals are just naturally more gifted.
Jason Line?
So if I was going to pick somebody, I would probably pick Jason Line. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I got that figured out pretty good. Okay, Jason Line. All right. So does Jason Line, if he's the guy, does he have a better shot at taking you out in fencing or on the racetrack?
Oh, I don't think he's got a shot either way.
That's the right answer.
I will say that he does his best to give me the best race car I can race every week. He'll come over right before my run with a laptop, tune up my car, regardless of if I'm racing him or not. So I will say he's probably the best in the business for sure.
How similar are they mindset-wise to when you get ready for a duel when it comes to fencing and rolling into the staging beams, getting set to go?
They're extremely similar. Basically, when I'm going up there to the stage, I'm focused on that one reaction. When I go up to fight somebody, I'm focused on that the shoulders moving and the hips moving. If I know those are if those move, I know something's about to happen. So it's almost like when those hips move, yellow flashes in front of me, and I know exactly what to do.
So go on yellow.
Absolutely.
Okay, I love it. So what is your dream in fencing? What's your aspirational goals there?
So a few years back, I won a 100-person tournament. It was exactly 100 people in it. Since then, there's been over 150, I believe, in that particular tournament as years have gone by. So I think my goal would be to get enough people that are interested in fencing again to make that a 200-person tournament and then to win it.
So obviously your goals in drag racing would be to become NHRA Pro Stock champion. We know what you have to do there. You've already won over 100 combatants in fencing, which shows that you can be a champion there, all things put together. What's holding you back from being the champion in NHRA?
Consistency is significantly the biggest hurdle in my path. We are able to make very good runs, and we're able to make very good runs at least 50% of the time, but you don't win on 50%. You got to be 70, 75, 85% to win.
The difference is if you lose a round in drag racing, you just lost. You can load the trailer and go on to the next one. You lose a round in fencing, somebody might have stabbed you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, and I've taken that to heart when I learned how to fence to begin with. It was very much at the end of the day, this is a very primal thing. If two people walk out onto the field, only one of them would walk away.
Yeah, and that mindset, that's pretty ferocious.
Yeah, it's intense for sure.
And
it can drain on you after time. Yeah, you definitely have to take your time and relax between rounds for sure.
So that's got to be fantastic then for preparing you for NHRA competition. It is very similar, right? You talk about those 100 guys. Granted, you don't have to beat 100 guys in an NHRA weekend, but the ones you have to beat, well, you got to be razor sharp to get it done, to get advanced, just like you said, beating Bo Butner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no slouches in this class. We're separated by thousands, not hundreds. So it's an intense weekend for sure.
So Deric, I got to ask you this. I mean, you and I don't know each other too well. You seem like a great guy, but I'm sure there's people listening going, fencing, is this guy just a geek?
Yeah, pretty much. Whether it's Marvel, video games,
Okay.
Batman. There's no restrictions around here for sure.
All right. So what's the yell? You watch fencing, like I think for most people, if they've seen anything similar to the fencing that you're doing, it's probably in the Olympics, right? That's probably the one spot they've maybe caught a glimpse of this. Is there a yell or something you do when you lunge forward? Because I think about the Three Musketeers and the swashbucklers. Is there something that carried over time?
Nothing really. Honestly, in my opinion, silence is better, right? So
Okay.
if I give them no information, that's the best information to give them.
Okay, so is that how you are in the car when you go to the line too?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a radio in the car, and 9 times out of 10, you'll see me sticking my hand out the window or something like that, rather than pushing the button and actually talking to somebody.
That's great. Derrick, this has been a lot of fun. Congratulations on the win at Route 66. How do you carry that over now as you think about the next round of competition in Pro Stock?
One lap at a time, I think, is the best way we can do it. I just got to stay focused. Crew Chief Michael Heiner is doing a great job, just giving me a good race car, and we just got to keep it going.
One combatant at a time. Work your way through the 100, right?
That's right.
All right, buddy. Great chatting with you. Congratulations on the victory. All the best in the fencing, and next time I think of swashbucklers, you're the guy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, there it is. You learned a lot about what it takes to win and beat Bo Butner, and also in the world of fencing. Derrick Cramer, we're coming right back with more right here on MRN's The Straight Line.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
When you purchase your parts at O'ReillyAuto.com, you can pick it up in-store when it's convenient for you. Your parts, tools, or accessories will be waiting at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup. Shop O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Join Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
But I mean, I don't know how to summarize it any better that, a driver's home track where his family and friends are all present just feels like a bigger event.
Hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders and much more.
I mean, when people come up to me all the time and say, hey, Rusty, who's going to win this week? I consistently say the 4-car.
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Just me, Ralph Sheheen today. Unfortunately, no Doug Herbert. Busy up in the sky, and we want him to have both hands on the wheel as he's up there flying around wherever he's at. We'll have him back here with us next week. Really enjoyed the conversation with Matt Smith and certainly Derrick Cramer talking about the fencing. One thing I did want to let you folks know about is Hercules, our great sponsor here along with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hercules is giving away a free set of tires every month, and you can register by going to HerculesTire.com/MRN. So get yourself signed up and win yourself a set of tires from the great folks at Hercules, giving away a free set of tires every month. So don't miss out on that opportunity. There's a new movie coming out. Now, I know it's not necessarily a drag racing driven movie, but anytime there's anything to do with movies and racing, we want to let you know about it. We all love that stuff, and we're all hoping this is a good one, right? So this one is all about Ford versus Ferrari, and here's a look at the trailer.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. You see it?
I think so.
Most people can't.
Carroll Shelby, maybe? Lee Iacocca, Ford Motor.
Suppose Henry Ford II wanted to build the greatest race car the world's ever seen to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. What's it take?
Well, it takes something money can't buy.
Money can buy speed.
What isn't about speed? You need a pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
I don't trust him an inch.
We heard he's difficult. No, Ken's a puppy dog.
No. Whatever it is, Shell, no.
Trust me.
You're gonna build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
And how long did you tell them that you needed? 200, 300 years?
90 days.
This isn't the first time Ford Motors has gone to war. We know how to do more than push paper. Go ahead, Carol. Go to war.
Thank you, sir.
Do you think you can beat Ferrari?
I can try.
We're lighter, we're faster. When that don't work, we're nastier. We're gonna make history. You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby. Hit it.
Cannot wait. It looks fantastic. And if you got the Rolling Stones and they're part of your soundtrack, I'm in anyway. So I don't know how many of you know the real story behind that. It is a true story. Enzo Ferrari was looking to sell his company and went to Ford to do that. And at the 11th hour, when Ford was all set to buy the company, Enzo backed out of the deal, and it was on. Ford was done. They were looking to crush Enzo Ferrari. And where did you do it back then? Well, you did it at Le Mans, where Ferrari had dominated in recent years. So it was everybody at Ford all in to go get Ferrari. And eventually they came to Carroll Shelby, who had Ken Miles working with him, who developed the Ford GT40 and got it ready to go. And that's the part that Christian Bale plays. Of course, Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon. You saw the gentleman who played the Punisher. He's actually Lee Iacocca. A lot of big names in there, a lot of great stars in this one. It looks fantastic. I've talked to some of the guys who've actually worked as stunt drivers in the movie. My buddy Tony Hunt did the part of Ken Miles, did a lot of Ken Miles stunt driving for Christian Bale. And also Alex Gurney does the driving and the parts of his dad, Dan Gurney. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Now, I can actually tie this to drag racing for you too, since we're on a drag racing show. Of course, Carroll Shelby came up with the Ford Cobra, and the Cobra, there was actually the Dragon Snake Cobra version, which was a drag racing version of the Cobra. Took me a ways to get there, but there you go. That's the only way I can tie the two together. But I do love the fact there's a new racing movie coming that a big major motion picture corporation got behind it, and we've got big name stars in it, and who knows, maybe this will become the racing version of Bohemian Rhapsody, and we'll have a massive hit on our hand, and everybody will want more racing movies. And as far as I'm concerned, that is perfect. The only thing I hope, the only thing that wears me out with racing movies is when things don't match up, right? You remember the Sylvester Stallone movie when all of a sudden they're going this way, and then the cuts from the road course, now they're on an oval and it doesn't match up, and the sounds of the engines don't match up. If they get that stuff right, we'll have a real winner here. So who knows? We were also kicking around the idea of maybe talking about if you're going to do another drag racing movie, which one would you want it to be? So maybe we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. But there you go. Quick look at the behind the scenes trailer of Ford versus Ferrari. Oh, the drag racing movie? Well, shoot, you've already used up Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Those are the first two that I was going to go to, Daryl. Who's the next hottest guy? And how about the guy that played Thor? He doesn't look anything like me, but he's Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Why not? Shoot big and end up sad. I'll probably get Will Ferrell, right? Ask for Chris Hemsworth, get Will Ferrell. There you go. That's my life. We're coming right back with more of MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts right after this. Somebody call Chris Hemsworth, would you?
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $28.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, folks. Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You won the championship, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, we use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
Get your tickets for the Ultimate NASCAR Summer Festival June 27th through June 30th. Racing, music, and a carnival for the whole family. All at Chicagoland Speedway. And this year, we're kicking off the first annual Barbecue Smokedown with tastings, demos, and barbecue competitions. Get tickets to the Camping World NASCAR Weekend at ChicagolandSpeedway.com.
You know, the more I think about it here on MRN's Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, I should have Will Ferrell play Herbert. That's perfect. I like that. Tickets to go to the races. We got to sell you some tickets, help our promoters out. The next stop on the tour, they are running 4 weeks straight if you go to Joliet. Next up is Topeka, Kansas, the Menards NHRA Heartland Nationals presented by Menards. And then it's off to one of my favorite venues, Thunder Valley Nationals at Bristol, Tennessee, and then Summit Racing Equipment Nationals at Norwalk, Ohio. Go to NHRA.com, click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner, get your tickets, maybe take Dad out for Father's Day weekend at Bristol, or if you're anywhere near Topeka, Kansas, or Norwalk, come check out the best in NHRA drag racing in action in the next few weeks. It's going to be a busy time of the year for the teams. It should certainly impact championship standings. Somebody gets on a roll here or can stop Torrance and Top Fuel. They finally stopped Butner and Pro Stock. It could really impact things. We heard Matt Smith talking about it. He gets that 60-foot deal going. Watch out. He could be firing in the next few weeks. Mike Mcintyre Jr. got his funny car license. He's been doing some nostalgia drag racing. The 35-year-old got his pro license for funny car. We will see the Mac Attack car show up in its bright orange livery at Norwalk. So another reason to get your tickets, come on out to Norwalk. Great to see another competitor coming out into the pro ranks, especially in funny car. Anytime we roll out a new funny car, I'm excited about that. So all the best to Mike Mcintyre Jr. and the Mac Attack crew. Look forward to seeing them in action. Thank you to Matt Smith and the sword-wielding Derrick Cramer for joining us here today on MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Happy landings to my buddy over here, Doug Herbert. We look forward to getting him back on the show with us. Thanks for tuning in, watching, and listening. We'll see you here on the next episode of MRN's The Straight Line presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Ralph Sheheen. We'll see you soon.